Coming up on today's show, we're chatting to all of Gotham's most wanted criminals and deadliest supervillains as we sit down with the cast to find out what we can expect from the squad. We hear from James Gunn about his future plans within the DCEU, and Margot Robbie reveals all about her future as Harley Quinn. But first, ever since it was announced that Idris Elba would be joining the cast of the Suicide Squad, fans have been desperate to see Bloodsport in action. And we spoke to him about his desire to work with James Gunn and whether we could expect to see him appear in the DCEU again.
Well, first question, working with James was definitely just a, dream come true. I love his work. I think he's very smart, very clever, innovative, just beautiful photography. He really gets at you, so that was great. And as far as, Bloodsport, that's a great question. I mean, the answer from my perspective is a character I love playing. He's a grumpy guy, just like me. So, I was really into that.
Don't worry, Idris. We still love you, even if you are a bit grumpy. And although our time with Idris was short, we also managed to ask him about switching allegiances from the MCU to the DCEU and how his experience in starring in both franchises differ.
There's no comparison to. I love both of them, but I think DC has a lot more to offer in terms of my character.
And it's not just Idris that fans are excited to welcome to the DCEU for the first time, because ex-Doctor Who and all-round nice guy Peter Capaldi will be taking on one of DC's most complex villains, Thinker. He told us of his excitement in taking on the role.
Yeah, well, it was very odd because I just woke up one morning and looked at my phone and I had an email saying, here's this script, and I read, and they said they wanted to do this. And I thought, well, that can't be. Have I really woken up yet? Are they? Because usually you have to jump through all these hoops and stuff like that. And now they just wanted me to do it, which was amazing. So I couldn't believe it, really. Because also this part was this evil genius. I've always wanted to play an evil genius. And there it was.
So now it's time to meet the man who's in charge of this ensemble group of misfits, and who better than James Gunn to lead them into battle. The acclaimed director, who's best known for his work within the MCU with the Guardians of the Galaxy, was an inspired choice to take over the reins from David Ayer. And despite it having the potential to be a match made in comic book heaven, it certainly wasn't short of controversy, because if you cast your minds back to 2018, Gunn had just been fired from working on the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, after a series of offensive tweets had resurfaced. Marvel's loss was very much DC's gain, however, and surprisingly, there was another project that DC were keen for him to take on before they settled on the Suicide Squad.
At first they were saying, hey, what about Superman? What about Superman? And I was like, I don't know. And then they said, listen, anything you want to do in the DC catalog, you can have anything you want. And they said, we'd love you to do the Suicide Squad. We'd love you to do whatever. And I went and I sat down with 3 or 4 ideas that I had, some of which were DC, some of which were other ideas. And I just kind of started writing them out. But for some reason, the Suicide Squad idea just took off. It was so creatively invigorating.
But luckily, it all worked out in the end, and Gunn even told us exclusively that this was the most fun he's ever had whilst working on a film.
And it was fun. I love working with ensembles, and I love balancing stories, and that's part of what I think I am good at. So it was fun, and it was a great cast, a great crew of people that made the experience of making it the most fun I ever had making a film.
And with the Suicide Squad and Gunn himself already receiving rave reviews, are we likely to see him back in the director's chair in the DCEU?
Before I go, it's a very exciting time for DCEU at the moment. Can you see yourself working again with DC in the universe? Because it would be so great to see you directing more movies in this universe.
Yeah, 1000%. I would love to do it. I would love to do it if it works out, for sure.
He seems keen enough. Make it happen, Warner Brothers. But of course, not everyone in the Suicide Squad is a newcomer. And how could we finish without hearing from Harley Quinn herself, Margot Robbie? It's hard to believe it's been 5 years since Margot's Harley Quinn exploded onto our screens in David Ayer's Suicide Squad. And with both Birds of Prey and the latest outing showing even more sides to Harley, how does Margot feel about Harley's evolution?
I am so proud of, I'm more grateful than proud. I'm like, I can't believe I get to play Harley. I can't believe I've gotten to do it 3 times. And each time it has been different. She's been at a different stage in her life, and therefore we see different kind of aspects of her personality. And in this film, she is a lot more independent. She's certainly independent of Mr. J for the first time, which we haven't really seen, because in Birds of Prey, she was still hung up about that.
And with Harley becoming more and more of a key figure within the DCEU, how long can we expect to see Margot Robbie returning to the role?
As for how long I'll keep playing her, I don't know. I'd like to play her another couple of times, but at the same time, I also am so proud that it could potentially be a character that gets to be reinterpreted by other actors, the way a lot of, truthfully, a lot of male characters get played time and time again, and there's this legacy associated with it. And for the women, there's Queen Elizabeth, and there's not that many more other female characters where so many different actresses get to show their interpretation. I'd really love for Harley to be one of those characters.
I think I speak for everyone when I say that we hope Margot stays in the role for as long as possible.
Well, hopefully this has got you all buzzing to watch The Suicide Squad, and it's available to watch in cinemas from today, so make sure you go check it out. Don't forget you can watch all of our videos with the cast of The Suicide Squad on our channel, and whilst you're there, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We'll see you soon for another episode of The Roundup. See ya!